Welcome to episode 38 of the Super Parent Podcast with your host, Dr. Nick Fanning. Today's episode is Keep Up or Catch Up.
Parenting in the 21st century is ever evolving, and while you balance work, kids, and your sanity, it's easy to feel discouraged. Welcome to the Super Parent Syndrome with your host, Dr. Nick Fanning.
Hello, my beautiful, brave parents out there. This is Dr. Nick Fanning again with another episode of the Super Parent Podcast. And this week, I'm going to be talking about the whole premise of keep up or playing catch up. And I really came to heart when I first heard about this when I was at Warrior X about 3 weeks ago. And if you haven't checked out Garrett White's Wake Up Warrior program, it is phenomenal and absolutely life-changing. But enough about that. Reach out if you want to talk to me about that. But more importantly, on the second day of our program, we started a hike. And up this hike came to be, it was for the majority of the day. But as we were hiking up this mountain, Coach Jesse, the guy that was leading us on this hike, said, it's better to keep up than to play catch up. And I cannot express to you exactly how true that really is. And the whole premise of this is that we were going to start hiking up this incredibly steep mountain. And we have the choice of whether or not we could keep up with the group and then rest when we were told to rest, or the fact that we're going to be hiking up this mountain, and then if we fell behind, we'd have to play catch up, and when the group was ready to go, the group was ready to go, whether or not we were ready or not. And that is a pretty important philosophy when it comes to the majority of life. If you think about that, a lot of us are playing catch up in a lot of different things. You know, we talk about the fact that a lot of people sacrifice their health for money, for pushing themselves extra hard at work, or not sleeping well to raise their kids, or whatever it is. We're sacrificing our health. And then later, when we have this money, when we have the time, then we try to play catch up with our health. And as you may know, that's obviously just a recipe for disaster. Another big thing, kids. When we're raising our kids, we're always talking about like, I just need a few minutes, so I'm going to be on my phone while they're playing or whatever it might be, versus being an active part of their lives. And then trying to use Sunday or the weekend or these grand ideas of big gifts or big events like going to Disney or something like that to try to make up for the fact that we have not been an active part of their lives. And so then therefore we're playing catch up versus the whole part of that we could just be keeping up. And what I mean by that, it doesn't have to be, absorbing your life. It can just be these momentary, these time after time of these small investments, these tiny little, what we call swinging singles, to really make sure that we're an active part of it. I just made a post on Facebook the other day of talking about using our Sundays as a day of actual rest versus a day of catching up. And the whole premise of doing that was to talk to people about like, hey, a lot of people are using Sundays to catch up on their honey-do list, or the fact that they have to put away the phone or not watch TV so that they can, be a good dad or be a good mom and actually give their kids some attention, versus the national average that, most parents and kids will have face-to-face one-on-one talk at 2 to 3 minutes per day on average. And that the average child will spend on average, or household on average, will spend 6 hours in front of the TV per day on average. So what that means is probably during the week, it's more like 4 to 5. And on the weekend, we're waking up for that. That is a very sad and shocking statistic. If you want, I'll definitely give you the sources of that. But the fact remains is that we are being sedated. We are choosing to be distracted. We're choosing to do things that really don't matter in the long run, and at the sacrifice of what really matters. And then we're having to play catch up. And that's the sad part, folks. So what I'm doing is, what I'm challenging you is that instead of playing catch up, like on Sundays or weekends or home vacation or whatever it might be, that you keep up. And that comes down to our health. In fact, I'll be honest today, it's been 3 weeks since Warrior X, which was incredibly physically demanding. And I've been doing like some plyometrics, some yoga, and some weightlifting, but I haven't been doing a lot of running or swimming. In fact, I haven't done any running and no swimming. And I've just got back into it today. And today, getting back into that run, man, I was playing catch up. It would have been far easier to gone for at least walks or going for a light jog as I let my body heal from that big experience versus doing nothing. And, technically I was doing nothing, but at the same to keep my cardiovascular health up. And now I'm going to be playing catch up because I got a marathon on May 6th in Indianapolis with a couple of good friends of mine. And the thing is, now I have that much shorter time. It's like just over 80 days where I have to get back into shape and into cardiovascular shape to actually do this. So now I'm going to be playing catch up, which it would have been way easier just to keep up. So folks, I want you, and this is your challenge, what is the one thing? I don't want you to focus on a ton of different things. I want you to focus on one thing. What is the one thing that you need to focus on keeping up? Is it your children? Is it your health? Is it your bank account? Is it your relationship with your wife? I want you to focus up, because if you've been, and you need to be honest with yourself, if you've been playing catch up instead, that's a recipe for disaster. I want you to forgive yourself, and I want you to start anew, and then just start with a brand new slate of keeping up. And yeah, you may have to do some work to catch up, but I want you to start acting in the way that you will act when you're keeping up. And so what that means is that, we don't have to go on this crash diet and take everything out of our diet, but start eating the way you're going to eat when you're in great shape. Or, you don't have to be like, all right, I'm taking the kids on a 2-week vacation because I've been absent and only been there partially. No, but you can start today on doing the little things, reading them a book at night or telling them affirmations in the morning before you get started, whatever it might be. So folks, that's what I want you to do. Forgive yourself, start anew, and start working on keeping up. So that's all I have for today. This is Dr. Nick Fanning with the Super Parent Podcast. You don't pay for this podcast, but I would ask you that you share this. You have an obligation, if you find this information useful or even life-changing or whatever it might be, you have an obligation to share this with at least one other person. And so I suggest that you do that, and you never know how far-reaching what you do, say or act could impact the lives of millions tomorrow. And one of my greats in my profession, Dr. B.J. Palmer, said that. Totally forever grateful for what he does for us. Anyway, I've rambled off long enough. I know that time is short and valuable when you're a parent, even more so when you're in business. And so I salute you. I'm proud of you. Thank you for taking a moment with me. And this is Dr. Nick Fanning signing off.
Thanks for listening to another episode of The Super Parent Syndrome. Please be sure to visit peptalksforparents.com for more content and our free newsletter. And remember, you are not alone.